is the Charlotte Knights podcast. Welcome in, everybody. I am Kendall Smith joining you here, and this is episode 1 of our podcast. It is the spring training edition. So as you can see, I am not in Charlotte, North Carolina. I am in Glendale, Arizona at Camelback Ranch. It is home of the Chicago White Sox spring training facility, and we've had a great week. We've been here all week talking to different people, picking their brains, getting their insight on the Charlotte Knights, spring training, the Chicago White Sox organization. So I figured for this first episode, we would let you hear from all of them. So sit back, enjoy it, everybody. Our first interview is with someone we think will make waves with the Chicago White Sox this year. He's expected to start the season with the Charlotte Knights. But let's hear from the White Sox number 2 prospect, Noah Schultz. Now joined by Noah Schultz. Noah, how you doing? How's spring training been so far?
I'm doing good. It's going well. Excited to get ready for the season. It's going well. Yeah.
So you were just telling me you were spending the off season in Miami. What were you doing there? How were you prepping for this season?
Just training. Had a gym there. I was working out with some guys with my agency, seeing my pitching coach. It was good. Good area. Had some fun. Was focusing, getting ready for this year and for spring.
Unfortunate circumstances last year, dealing with some injuries, obviously the season ending a bit early for you. But just from a physical standpoint, how would you describe where you're at right now?
Feel great, in a good spot, ready to get ready for the season. No restrictions or anything. It's good. Feel good.
When we get to the end of the season, come October, you look back on it. How will you know that you had a successful season, in your opinion?
I think there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways you can look at it. Staying healthy. Getting the results out on the field. I think that it's hard to pick specific things, but I think you'll know in the end.
There's a great group of prospects here that a lot of people are very excited about. Of course, you are one of them, but in terms of the other guys, the prospects that are out here, who has kind of caught your eye during spring training so far?
There's a lot. A lot of the guys that would be probably pitcher with this year in Charlotte for some time. McDougal, Hagan, those guys are great. I've been throwing with those guys for a while, for a few years. They're great, and they've been having a great camp. I'm excited to see what they're doing and how they're going to do this year as well.
We're getting ready for opening night in Charlotte on March 27th, obviously to set the tone for the season. It's very important for you. So when you look at those first few starts, how do you want those to develop on your end?
Yeah, I know it's all a process, and I know the beginning of the season, with pitch counts and stuff. I think that there's different ways to look at it. But I'm excited to go out there and get back, being healthy after last year, and excited to have a good year.
Seems like everybody around here is getting along pretty well. Some good camaraderie between the group. What's it been like being around all these guys, and of course the guys in the major leagues as well, to have as mentors?
It's great. A lot of these guys, we're all pretty close in age, most of us, and a lot of us have played at different levels so far. So it's good that, a lot of the guys that, I've played with, and we kind of have that, team chemistry already, which is, a good thing. And it's the thing that, it's hard to get with some guys. It's nice that, a lot of us have played together for a while.
Absolutely. Well, Noah, we're excited about the season. We wish you the best of luck. Can't wait to have you back in Charlotte, and look forward to seeing you up in Chicago soon. Thanks so much.
Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I feel like even in knowing Noah for the past year or so, he's just grown so much. And obviously our height difference is quite funny. If you can tell, he's about 1.5 feet, maybe even more taller than me. But he's been so much fun to watch just, again, over the last year, and see the way that he's really just taken on his role, taken on his circumstances, and done it with a lot of grace. Obviously his season didn't end the way that he wanted it to last year, but it seems as if he's come back stronger here in spring training. He has his eyes on the prize, which of course is the Chicago White Sox, and I don't think it'll be too long before they see him playing up there on the south side. Now, speaking of the south side, speaking of call-ups, this one's a little bit different, but this was one of my favorite interviews I had the chance to do here at spring training. We had a manager just a couple seasons ago, Justin Jerschley. He's now the infield coach and third base coach of the White Sox. And during the time, it was 2024, we were just in the middle of our season, right? We're hanging out, we're July, August time, somewhere around there. And all of a sudden, we find out that Justin Jerschley is getting called up as our manager to go help out the White Sox. So Pat Lestache stepped in as our interim manager during the time. Pat Lestache is back with the Knights this season, but Jerschley was called up. We never saw him back in Charlotte again, which is a good thing because he's stuck with the White Sox. He's done a great job, and he talked with me about a lot of different things about the Knights' new manager this year, Chad Pinder, about all the prospects that we'll see in Charlotte, about what it's like here at spring training and how his time in Charlotte has really helped him to be a successful coach at the major league level. So without me talking any further, here's my conversation with the Chicago White Sox infield coach and third base coach, Justin Jerschley, plus former Charlotte Knights legend. Well, we are now joined by a legend, a Charlotte legend, if you will. Our former manager, Justin Jerschley, now with the Chicago White Sox. I told you, you left us a year and a half ago, but all for a good reason, getting the call up, now working in Chicago. Since the last time our fans have heard from you, how's life been?
Very good. Yeah, life has been good. Pretty much the same. Obviously, not making the trips to Charlotte for the time being, but yeah, just trying to be a dad in the off season and be the best husband I possibly can be. You'd have to ask my wife if that's true or not, but yeah, trying to be a father and spend time with the family in the off season, and now it's go time. We're back at it.
We are here at Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona, just a couple weeks away from opening day, which is crazy to think about, but you have a front row seat at getting to watch so many of these guys throughout the spring training process. Who has stood out to you so far during this time?
You know, I don't know if I could pinpoint one name for you. Love all these guys, obviously, had a bunch of them in the minor leagues. But, you know, it's a really exciting group, and we're really excited, you know, for the foundation that we built last year, and then obviously to build on that this year. We know we start 0-0 March 27th or whenever it is. So, you know, it's looking to continue to stack good days down here and be ready to go.
You have such a unique perspective because you have come up through the White Sox system, and now you've ultimately made it to Chicago. So how fulfilling is it for you when you have a guy that maybe you've seen in the minor leagues, that you had the chance to coach in the minor leagues, come up and have the chance to play with the White Sox?
It's awesome. You know, I think you talk to anybody that's in player development, you know, and you feel the same way when you're in player development and you see those guys take that next step and finally reach their dreams, if you will, of getting to the major leagues and sustaining a life or a long major league career, you know, and then now to have a front row seat, like you said, is really cool too.
We're excited in Charlotte this year because we think we'll get a good group of prospects joining us. And when you look across the board, there are so many exciting, young, talented guys there that are a part of this prospect group for the White Sox. So from your perspective, why should Knights fans be excited about these younger guys?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think it's just a really exciting group that's, you know, infiltrating from the lower levels of our minor league system, and you know, guys that might not quite make the team with us heading to Chicago for opening day, but they're awfully close, and they know that, and we know that, and everybody feels that. So it's really exciting. You got some internal competitions at certain positions, and yeah, it's just an exciting time to be a White Sox.
I'm glad you brought up the internal competitions. I think a lot of people look at spring training, you see the guys shooting hoops, you see them coming out here, hanging out for 6 weeks in Arizona, but it's not all fun, it's not all games. There's a lot of competition, and how do you think the guys have balanced that this year, the fun with the intensity?
Yeah, I think, like you said, you got to find that balance. You know, starting with Will, he does a fantastic job. You know, March Madness right around the corner, so we got the basketballs out. Had a coach's fungo competition this morning. You know, you get to this middle portion of spring training, and you know, it's the same thing over and over every day. Guys are putting in so much work. You know, it's long days, it's getting hot. So kind of balancing, like you said, that fun, but yet we're still getting after it, and we're still doing our work and still staying ready to go and getting better each and every day. You know, but we're adding a little fun to it too.
Love that. The Knights have a new manager this year, Chad Pinder. You get to work with them. Knights fans have heard from him. What can you say about Chad and what he can bring to the club?
Chad's awesome. Obviously a tremendous major league career. You know, that speaks for itself, but I think just his knowledge of the game and how he's able to communicate with players and staff and really be able to develop guys and help them along their journey to get to the big leagues. I think he's going to be a tremendous asset for us as a group and as an organization. So really excited for him and us.
Last one for you. How do you feel like your time in Charlotte helped equip you to be successful now at the major league level?
Yeah, I think just being around, you know, it's the highest level of the minor leagues, excuse me. You know, and just continuing to be around guys that have had longer careers in the big leagues as players. You know, and then you have staff that's there that maybe had longer careers in the big leagues as a coach and as a player, both. So continuing to soak up knowledge and information from those guys and their experiences, and kind of build your own repertoire, if you will, of how you want to go about it on a daily basis.
I will never forget in Charlotte, Jersh would always complain saying that we didn't have cheese curds and you'd have to get them sent down from Wisconsin, which is where you're from. So now that you're in Chicago and you are closer to Wisconsin, I've got to know, do you have the cheese curds still being shipped in, or have you found a place in Chicago?
So I might get in trouble for this, but I do get to venture home on some off days if it lines up with day games. So I'm always bringing them from home.
There we go. I'm glad it's worked out for you. Jersh, thank you so much for the time. We're super excited for you. Love watching all that you're doing with the White Sox. Appreciate all you did in Charlotte, and we wish you the best this season.
Awesome. Thank you. And go Sox and go Knights.
Love it. Justin is the best. He has an incredible family. His wife, Liz, is amazing. And I think back on my time with Justin as our manager, and he actually was the manager when I first started with the Knights. So he was the first manager that I ever worked with. I was in college when I started with the Charlotte Knights. So March of my senior year at the University of South Carolina, I was driving back and forth from Charlotte to Columbia, from Columbia to Charlotte, and Jersley was there. He was our manager. He was kind of the first baseball manager that I really got to know and would interview on a weekly basis, and he was just always so accommodating, so great. I'm sure I made some mistakes back then for sure, being fresh out of college or even still in college when I was talking to him, and he just always treated me like a pro, and so for that, I will be eternally grateful to him, eternally grateful to his wonderful family. And I just loved getting to catch up with him here because we see him up in Chicago and see the great job that he's doing. And it's really fun for us to watch. We talk about all the players that get called up, but to see a coach, a manager get called up in the middle of the season and stick and do well, that is just a testament to who he is as a coach, who he is as a person. And I know the players absolutely love him. Okay, we're keeping the interviews going here. We've got people like going all around us. This is what I love about spring training. There's always something going on. But we're keeping the interviews going here. And this next one was really special to me. I am the team reporter and host for the Charlotte Knights, and I am constantly interviewing players, talking to them, hosting our pregame show. There's a lot that goes on. And from the outside looking in, it might not seem like, the hardest job. It might not seem like something that would be too difficult on a day in, day out basis, but there is a lot that goes into it. And someone who definitely understands that is the Chicago White Sox on-field reporter. It is Brooke Fletcher. I have wanted to meet her for so long. Finally had the chance here at spring training. She is a joy, just such a bright light in this business. She's so talented, does such a great job with the White Sox and with Chicago Sports Network. And again, she gets to see the day in, the day out here. So she knows a lot of the prospects that we'll see in Charlotte. She obviously knows all the big league guys that are making impacts with the Chicago White Sox. She gets to tell their stories. She gets to humanize them. So we're not just seeing them as baseball players, but we're seeing the people that they are off of the field as well. And like I said, she is just awesome at what she does. So this next interview is with the White Sox on-field reporter. It's Brooke Fletcher. Enjoy, everybody. Well, this is such a treat to be joined alongside Brooke Fletcher, the White Sox on-field reporter. We are here at Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona at White Sox spring training. Brooke, I have to say selfishly, I've been wanting to meet you for a while. I'm excited to finally have the chance to chat with you. So how has life been for you at spring training?
I know, I feel like we know each other just through mutual friends, and so I'm glad that we finally got the opportunity, but spring training has been great. Who can complain about some nice weather and some good baseball, right? But, spring training is just great because this is where a lot of the guys, they're coming off their off seasons. They've been working on some stuff. Also, they let their guard down a little bit. It's a little bit more relaxed environment before the season starts. So I feel like that's where you really just build the relationships, and it's just nice to be out here.
Well, we've got to pick your brain a little bit because we have a lot of fans back in Charlotte that are very excited about what our roster could look like this year come opening day. Of course, it hasn't been announced yet, but we have maybe a little bit of an idea of who can be there and a lot of prospects that we might see this season. So who has stood out to you prospect-wise so far here at spring training?
Well, of course, the Hagen Smith, Noah Schultz, the mainstays there. And then Tanner McDougal, guys, we had a chance to get to know him at Sox Fest, and he did not back down from doing Malord shots. Like, he is one of man with the people, if you will. He is going to be so much fun to watch in Charlotte, just the personality. Also, he throws gas. He is insane on the mound. So that's a name that you need to keep in mind. And then Tanner Murray is somebody that came over from the Rays organization. Talk about a guy that has a lot of versatility. We know that he's now going to to be in the AAA. This is a guy, he's a workhorse. Will Venable just told me that they value him and just what he's able to bring, versatility, and he was crushing it at the plate. So that's a new name that fans need to get to know, but somebody that you definitely need to keep an eye on.
Yeah, Tanner Murray, a guy that could definitely make an impact in Charlotte, and someone that actually is familiar, I think, to some fans that have seen him play with the Durham Bulls before at Charlotte before. So yes, he's on the right side of things now, everybody, because we know about the beef between Durham and Charlotte over in the Queen City. So Braden Montgomery, he's a name that a lot of people are talking about, rightfully so. He could be in Charlotte to start the year, but what have you seen from him here at spring training? It's been impressive.
Oh my gosh. I mean, he's put on some weight and some muscle, and you'll definitely be able to see that. He walks by, I'm like, he's so jacked. But just we know what he's been able to do at the plate. You know, we saw it last year. And then this year, I feel like he's coming into spring training just confident and knows who he is as a player, like in this system. Outfield has been making some great defensive plays. And then at the plate, just, you know, being that switch hitter and just showing off that pop, you know, eventually that we would love to see in Chicago, but it's going to be fun to watch in Charlotte, potentially.
We're hoping. Fingers crossed we'll get to see him in the Queen City. It's so cool because you do get to be around these guys, and you know, a lot of what they see with you, a lot of what the fans see is on camera, but you see a lot of the off-camera stuff here as well. How would you describe the camaraderie in the clubhouse with all these guys?
Well, I know that there's always positive vibes at spring training, right? But I will say, from last year to this year, there is a different camaraderie, if you will, chemistry. I feel like there's a lot of guys that it's a young group, and last year down the stretch they were able to prove what they could do. You saw the momentum, and that's kind of the theme this year, is carrying that momentum. You walk into the clubhouse, guys are, you know, listening to music, they're hanging out. You can tell that they genuinely like to spend time with each other. And I think even at the Super Bowl this year, you know, Sean Burke was telling us that a bunch of guys, there was like 18 guys that all got together and was watching it. And you don't really get that with a lot of, especially big league clubhouses. So the fact that these guys actually enjoy spending time with each other, that's only going to translate on the field and hopefully translate into wins.
We are sitting here at the beginning of March. I can tell you I've heard Freebird 3 times today being played, and lots of guys singing it.
Yeah.
They're loving it, so the energy is really great, and I've only been here for a few days and can certainly pick up on that. Brooke, I want to get into your job a little bit because it is really cool. You get to be with the team, you get to travel with the team, you're the on-field reporter for the White Sox. What is something about your job that people might not realize you have to do?
It doesn't stop during the season, and I know you can relate as well. So, you know, that's one thing that's great about coming to spring training is these guys are knocking off the rust, and so are we, because we've had an off season, and so you're kind of getting back in that mindset. And then once the season starts, it's nonstop. Baseball is your life essentially. So yeah, I guess maybe that's something that people don't really realize. And also too, I think a part of our job is to tell the stories of the players. Like, we are their voices, and we get to humanize them, which makes our job so fun. So just being able to build and establish these relationships with guys, it's really cool.
You live in Chicago in the off season as well. So if we have a guy from Charlotte, let's say, he gets called up, we'll speak this into existence. He's making his debut, but he has one day before he makes his debut to experience Chicago. What should he do?
Okay, so I think everybody, like a rite of passage, if you're coming to Chicago, you have to do the architecture tour. Architecture tour is great, and of course you have to make sure that it's actually nice outside to do it. So do that. You have to go and get some good food. I am a huge fan of Trivoli Tavern. I was actually telling you about that. That's on my go-to. Or you can go to Illuminati's, or you could go to you know, Portillo's. Those are like the classics. But if you want some like cool, you know, dining, go to Trivoli Tavern. So that's what I would recommend to anybody coming.
Trivoli Tavern is on my list because we were talking about it for a good 5 minutes earlier today.
Good pasta.
That's all I need to hear, and I will be there instantly. Okay, Brooke, there are probably some people watching this too that want to do what you do and love to see your job, think it's really inspirational, and it is such a fun job. It's such a cool job. So the advice for the younger generation of broadcasters, what would it be from you?
Treat everybody with respect, because it is a very small industry. I started off as an associate director out of college, and you know, some of my best friends were production assistants, and years later, being in this industry for over 10 years, they're now producers, they're now running, you know, certain departments of networks, and so it's just crazy how it can be a full circle moment. So just treat everybody with respect. Also, and appreciate the grind. You know, this industry, you're going to hear a lot of no's. You're going to have to kind of be your own biggest cheerleader in a way, and you have to believe in yourself. And so it really is a cool journey. I look back 5 years from now and see how much I've grown. And so I think the best times in my career, when I'm present with where I am, that's where I feel like I've grown the most. So that's my advice for anybody just getting into the industry. Just appreciate the grind. You're going to appreciate it so much more once you do that dream job.
I love it. And I love that you spent some time in Charlotte too, right? With
I love
ESPN,
Charlotte.
SEC.
I love it. Yeah, so I lived in South End. I came up to you immediately and I was like, how's Charlotte doing? Because I spent three and a half years out of college there working at ESPNU and SEC Network. And when I tell you, I love that city so much. There's just, you're close, you can go on hikes, you're close to the beach if you want to take a weekend trip there. And the restaurant scene is very sneaky in Charlotte. Yes. And you were raised there, so you know.
It is the best and just such a great city. We have so much fun, and the Knights skyline, the greatest.
And I would go to Knights games, and Knights games are the best. And we would go out, and yeah, it's the best. So
as if you don't watch enough baseball or go to enough baseball games. If you get an off day, hey, let us know. Yeah. We'll get you out there to a Knights game. We would love to have you. We want to do a little draft with you, Brooke. This is something we're trying to do on our Knights podcast. To a lot of really cool cities. You obviously live in Chicago too. So let's do a Major League Baseball cities draft. Okay. She's been to more than me, and I've never worked a Major League game, so I'm just going based off vibes and where I've been before, but I'll let you start it off, and then we'll go from there. We'll do 5 each.
5 each. Okay. Fenway Park, classic. Well, Boston, I guess. Are we doing cities or parks?
Yeah,
okay.
Park, cities.
Boston is such a great sports town in general. I love the history there. If you're a true baseball fan, you'll love Fenway Park. Also, their hot dogs are amazing because I feel like I'm like a hot dog connoisseur here when I go to the parks. And I will say Rate Field has one of the best brats. Okay, Petco Park in San Diego is incredible. Such a vibe. It's just like it truly represents the mentality and the vibe of San Diego and the food scene. Great tacos, great beer. It's awesome. I love, what else do I love? Yankee Stadium, I feel like, is a classic. It's just so monumental. I love doing a game there. It's like when you do a game at Yankee Stadium, you're like, okay, I think I've kind of made it, maybe. Yeah. So Yankee Stadium is great. Atlanta, because I grew up in Atlanta. Turner Field still was my favorite, but I like Truist Park and the Battery. They're doing something right down there. Just being able to go to all the bars, and it's just, and they do the tomahawk chop, which is great. So Atlanta, shout out to them. And then I need one more, right? I haven't been to San Francisco yet, and I think I'm gonna go this year. And so that is on my bucket list. So I'm gonna throw that one in there because I heard it's the best out of everything.
Okay, I love it. No, those are great picks. Last year I had the chance to go to Rate Field, so I'll put that top because it was just so fun to be in Chicago. Like, it was so cool. You're right, the food is 10 out of 10, and I had the s'more shake.
I didn't try it.
I went around the entire ballpark like twice. I'm like, where's the s'more shake? You can only get it like at a couple locations. I think I missed 10 out of 10. But anything that's like sugary, chocolatey, I'm all in on that. So it was worth it. I did miss probably a couple innings, but loved it. So good.
Okay.
It's all good. Forget about it. Citi Field. I love Citi Field. I think it's cool. I mean, Yankee Stadium, you already had that one in there, so I got to go Citi Field. I just love being in New York in general, and like it's so spirited there, all the fans. So they're super fun to be around. I went to Dodger Stadium for the first time this past season. It was actually during the playoffs, and it was really cool to be able to watch Dodger baseball during the playoffs. Shout out them. They're right across.
Did you try a Dodger dog?
Yes.
Okay, what do you think of the Dodger dog? Be honest.
I think it's good. So I will say, like, I am not the biggest hot dog fan. I only will eat them at a baseball game.
Okay.
So it was good, but I think it's just as good in Chicago. Like, I like a Chicago-style dog, so I'm going to go with that over anything. But yeah, Dodger Stadium was great. Camden Yards, sneaky, very good.
On my bucket list, too. I haven't been.
I went when I was like 10, so it's been a long time. And I have no excuse not to go because it's not too far from Charlotte. Yeah. So I feel like, gotta throw that one in there. And then lastly, I'm thinking of places I've been to.
Have you been to Rockies? Have you been to?
I haven't. I need to
heard that one is great. I've been. Hello. I've been as a fan. And then, what's another one?
I need to go to Fenway. I'm just going to put it on there. I know you already did it, but I need to go. I haven't been. So I think that I'll just put that on there last. So I'll speak into existence that I will go there maybe this year. Boston is on the bucket list this summer. Brooke, you are the best. She's talking about like just being a great person in this industry, and she really is. I've only known you for 48 hours, but you're so cool, and I appreciate you joining us here on the show. Can't wait to watch you this season. Watch her on Chicago Sports Network. She does a great job covering the team. Where can they follow you on social media?
Instagram. I'm really trying to up my TikTok game, so if you want to give me a follow there, I'm just kidding. But seriously. And Twitter, too.
Love it. Brooke, thank you so much. And we'll talk to you soon, hopefully. Maybe I'll make it up to Chicago this year at some point. Come see what you do for your job.
Yes, I'll take you to Trivoli Tavern.
Oh, okay, we're going. That's decided. Thanks, Brooke. So, as I mentioned, Brooke is incredible. It was so much fun to get to meet her here, get to talk to her. I love how we did the little draft of Major League stadiums. I still have so many that I want to see, so hopefully I'll get a couple more checked off the list this year, as I mentioned. Maybe Fenway Park. I'm hoping to get there this summer. But I will say, I think Truist Field is the best stadium in minor league baseball. And I'm not even joking. Like, I've been to several others. I've traveled with the Knights to away series, and nothing compares to Truist Field. It truly is a 10 out of 10. So don't forget to join us this season if you're watching from Chicago or from somewhere else and you're like, should I go to Truist Field this year? The answer is yes. This is your sign. CharlotteKnights.com. Come see us. Best ballpark in minor league baseball. But Brooke, you're awesome. Cannot wait to see you soon and keep up the great work. Someone that Brooke covers that was really nice to meet this spring training cycle. I didn't have the chance to talk to him last year. He didn't play in Charlotte last year, but he's a huge name for the White Sox. It's Hagen Smith. He's the White Sox #4 prospect. And when people think about Noah Schultz, who we heard from earlier in the show, they think about Hagen Smith a lot too. When you're thinking of the two of them, they're the two guys, right? Like those two big-time pitchers that the White Sox certainly will be counting on, hopefully this season. So got to meet Hagen Smith here at spring training. He had a lot of great things to say. He was talking to me about his changeup and how during the offseason that was really a primary area of focus for him. So excited to see how that plays out this year during games. But for now, listen to this interview from Hagen Smith. I thought it was really insightful, the White Sox #4 prospect. Well, we're excited to be joined alongside the White Sox #4 prospect. It is Hagen Smith. We are here at Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona. And Hagen, just a couple weeks left here of spring training. How's it been going for you so far?
It's been good, yeah. Just trying to build up the innings, work on changeup, and it's been good out here to meet the guys and see some familiar faces too.
When you think about last season and just now heading into this season, where do you feel like you've made the biggest improvements this offseason?
Yeah, I think I just refined my mechanics pretty good, and I made a lot of big jumps in my changeup. That was kind of the main focus going in the offseason, was trying to fix some mechanics. At the end of the year last year and then going in the fall league, I felt really good, and so just carrying that over, and I feel really good now. And yeah, the changeup was big for me this offseason, so that feels really good too.
Yeah, you talk about the changeup and just refining the mechanics. For those listening, what exactly does that look like to refine the mechanics?
Yeah, for me last year it was a little out of whack for the first half of the year, and then towards the back end just kind of slowed my body down. I was moving a little too quick and really just kind of focused on my lower half of my mechanics, and that kind of helps everything.
When you look at this group of prospects, they're very impressive. Who have you been talking to this spring training? Who have you kind of been working with that you feel like maybe even helps to up your game a little bit when you think of these guys?
Yeah, really everybody, especially the pitchers. Being around Noah and Tanner, obviously we're around the same age, and it's been good just to watch them throw in games and watch them throw in practice, and just kind of talking to Noah sometimes about his slider, what he thinks. I mean, he has a really good slider, so I like to hear his opinion on his.
And what does he say?
I would just really ask him cues on what he thinks when he throws a slider, just kind of pick his brain a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he is great, and we just asked him the other day the same question I'm about to ask you. When you look at the end of the season, come September, come October, and you think back on it, how will you know it was a successful year for you?
I think just staying healthy. For me, I kind of dealt with the injury bug last year a little bit. I was out for a month, and really just stay healthy and make every start that I can, and I think that'll be successful.
Being a pitcher is so interesting. You live and die off of every pitch, and no other position on the field is that way. So from a mental standpoint, how do you deal with that in your position?
I think it's just, I've been a pitcher for so long, it's just kind of what it is, No, I don't think I really ever think about that, honestly.
That's good. Yeah. Obviously a great thing, great way to be. This spring training is so much fun, I guess, just to be around all the guys, whether they're in the majors or, maybe playing in single A, double A, triple A, whatever it might be. Just an average day in your life at spring training, how would you describe what it's like?
It's been awesome. Just talking to some of the older guys that I was here last year with that are on the team, and seeing some of the new guys that we got this offseason, and then obviously seeing the young guys that I played with last year in Birmingham. And it was really good just to see everybody. Honestly, I think for me, it just back home is you don't see all the guys and you kind of miss them a little bit. When you get to spring training, it's fun to see everybody.
Hopefully we see Hagen in Charlotte sometime soon. Again, as I'm recording this, it is March 9th. So opening day rosters have not been announced. We don't quite know who is going where, but hoping to see him at some point this year. And as I talked about so many times throughout these interviews and during the show, there are so many prospects for the White Sox that are just so exciting. There's so many young guys that are a part of this White Sox team right now. And you even think back to last year, we had Kyle Teal, we had Chase Mydroth, we had Colson Montgomery, just to name a few players that were in Charlotte at different periods of the year, and now look at what they're doing up in Chicago. So you know that the stars of tomorrow in the MLB are at Truist Field. They're with the Charlotte Knights today, and that's kind of the whole point of this podcast. We want to give you a front row seat. We want to give you an inside look at what life is like for these guys, a lot of these prospects that are making their way up the rankings, trying to make it to the major league level. And then obviously minor league baseball is just so unique in and of itself. There is nothing like it. The bus trips, the constant grind, 6 games in a row, only having Mondays off. There's just so much that goes into it that I don't think we talk about. Also, we want to humanize the guys too, so we want you to get to know them, their favorite foods, what they like to do on their off days, just fun facts about them. We're going to try to show you some of that too and peel back the layers of these players so you know them for more than just athletes and more than just guys that you see on the field. So this is just our first episode of the Charlotte Knights podcast, and it was a little bit different because we're throwing it to some interviews. In the future, we'll definitely have guys sitting next to me and we'll just be having conversations. But we wanted to give you an inside look at spring training because there is so much that goes on here at Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona, and we feel like you all should have the chance to see that too. It really sets the stage for our season and allows us to get a really great look and feel for how things are going to go. And I can tell you, just based off the energy, based off the vibes, and based off what I've seen here at spring training, I think the White Sox and all of their affiliate teams are in store for a really great year. So once we get those opening day rosters, we'll have another episode coming your way with one of the guys that we think will be making a big time impact for the organization this year. But thank you everybody for joining us on our first episode of the Charlotte Knights podcast. This has been a long time coming. It's something we've wanted to do for a while, so we can't wait to see it the way that it takes shape throughout the rest of the season. I'm Kendall Smith, the Charlotte Knights team reporter and host, and we'll have more coming your way soon. This has been the Charlotte Knights podcast, and we'll see you next time, everybody.